Let's take you live now to Washington. As we mentioned, there's Senator Schumer, an announcement that the Sandy aid, long overdue, has finally been passed. Let's take a listen.
Roads protected. The bill we passed today is almost everything we wanted in the Senate bill. There are a few things that the House took out of the bill, but this bill is certainly close enough. And we thought that passing it quickly, because people couldn't wait, or passing it without further delay is a better way to put it. We thought passing it without further delay was imperative, and we passed it tonight. We've been fighting for this aid for over 3 months, 9 times as long as it took funds for Hurricane Katrina. We hit roadblocks, as when the House declined to take up the Senate bill. And we've had to defeat disastrous amendments that would have cut this package by 2/3 or required us to cut other desperately needed programs to help the citizens of New York and New Jersey. But together, as a bipartisan team, we overcame these challenges, passed a substantial bill. This country has had a tradition for over 100 years that when one region of the country is hit by a disaster, be it man-made or natural, the country stands together and helps them. It would have been an absolute disgrace for them to change the rules when New York and New Jersey were hit. New York and New Jersey taxpayers over the decades have spent billions of dollars to help the West when they had fires, the Mississippi and Missouri valleys when they've had floods, the central parts of the United States when they had tornadoes, and Florida and Louisiana and the coast when they had hurricanes. And now America is standing by us, and we appreciate that. Tonight, by passing this bill, we once again showed we're one nation, and when our fellow citizens are in need, we take care of them. People from Maine to California will be helping people from Staten Island to Montauk rebuild, just as those in Breezy Point helped after earthquakes and tornadoes and wildfires. Now we face the challenge of getting this desperately aided need to people quickly. We will watch the bureaucracy like a hawk to make sure the money goes to whom it's supposed to go and as quickly as possible. We're not going to let bureaucracy stand in the way because our people so desperately need the help. We'll be working closely with state and local governments as well as federal agencies to see that the aid flows quickly. And that's because we've already waited long enough for the aid, so we have to make sure there are no further delays. At this point, aid delayed becomes aid denied. There is no question that reconstruction will be a long road ahead of us, but at least now we have gas in the car. Senator, should we do it? Okay, Frank, why don't you go?
All right, and with that, we will see the money. And Andrew, you mentioned looking at the tally, one would assume this is 100 every lawmaker voting for it, but once again, we'd be disappointed. About more than a third of the senators voted against it.
36 no votes. I haven't looked at the breakdown. I would assume they're all Republican votes.
Amazing. All right. Let's talk about some other political headlines, long overdue, but yet still, at least it's getting here. We're going to figure out how fast it gets there and who it helps. But some other stories making some news. All
right, Rich, we got 3 of them. On Saturday, a senior Democratic U.S. Senator announced his current term will be his final one. Iowa's Tom Harkin not running for re-election in 2014. Harkin has been in the Senate since 1985. He has served longer in the upper chamber than any other Democrat in Iowa history. His best known effort, the Americans for Disabilities Act. Harkin now the 3rd sitting senator to call it quits for 2014. He joins Georgia Republican Saxby Chambliss and West Virginia Democrat Jay Rockefeller. This list adding to the Dems' likely troubles next year. Iowa minus Harkin tends to vote Republican. West Virginia could well go that way, and Georgia is as red as a red state can get. Those likely losses come on top of what would be a GOP wave in the Senate next year. Every senator who was elected in 2008 will be on the ballot. That's the year Democrats across the country were buoyed by the election of Barack Obama. He will not be on the ballot next year. As for the president, a slate of his recess appointments have been overturned by a federal appeals court. The court determined the president overstepped his constitutional authority, making the appointments, which are reserved only for instances when the Senate is not in session. The Senate was in something called pro forma session at the time, gaveling in and out every 3 days without doing any business. as a way to try to prevent recess appointments. This is Republican senators blocked a record high number of Obama appointments. The appointments are key ones, including the chairman of the new Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and the National Labor Relations Board. This case is likely headed to the U.S. Supreme Court. And finally, grab the tissues and the hankies. A TV era is coming to an end with a whispered "you betcha." Fox News Channel has decided not to renew the contract of Sarah I Can See Russia, Real America, I Read Every Newspaper, Can't Name a Supreme Court Case. Doesn't know the story of Paul Revere. Her family got health care in Canada. Palin. Did I get them all? Did I miss any? The former Alaska governor and 2008 Republican VP nominee got $1 million a year contract from Fox starting in 2010. Based on her infrequent appearances and failed shows she was to have hosted, she made a little more than $15 for every word she uttered on air as a Fox employee. Rich, my question, how can I get that deal?
It's a good gig, or it was. Do you think this is just, she didn't work, or do you think it's Fox starting to say, if you read what Ailes has been saying a little bit, we're going to step back a little bit from the Tea Party here?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think part of it is that I think everybody here appreciates that if someone's paying your way, then you should announce stuff on their network.
Yeah.
And when she announces on another network, she's not going to run for president. Yeah. And she does these kind of reality shows and different things, and even you could argue Dancing with the Stars on ABC, But I also think that it may be her 15 minutes of fame are up, because when you take a look at the broader piece of what she's contributed to the body politic, there's like kind of nothing there, and I don't think that she's really articulating a vision, a view. And you know what? Coming as an outsider to the political system means, yes, you're not tainted, but yes, you don't really have the contacts to give the context for politics.
She's been underestimated before, Dominic. You think the 15 minutes are up for her?
Let's look at the positive side of this. Let's give her a little bit of credit. Sarah Palin worked it. If her 15 minutes are up, she worked it into a multi-million-dollar book deal. But you know what's scary about this whole thing? I don't know if her time period is up, but here's what's scary. She was elected governor to begin with. That's scary. I'm sorry, Richard. I'm sorry. Richard, I'm sorry. She was elected governor of a state.
And it's funny. I think the thing, Marcelo, that hurt her more than anything that she couldn't get back wasn't that she didn't read the newspapers, or a lot of stuff she didn't know, is that she quit in the middle of her job to basically make some money with the books and the TV and the rest. And I thought once she did that, that hurt her, because nobody likes somebody who quits in the middle of something for greener pastures,
Well, without a doubt, Richard, I think it was a combination of factors. First, everybody was mocking her. She was like the laughing stuff. Everybody was making fun of her. And it was cute for a while. Some people were defending
adored
her.
No matter what, though.
But after a while, they started to see there's no substance here. There is absolutely anything. Then, as you say, she quit in the middle, and she goes and started making these reality shows, which I think nobody watched. I don't know if anybody watched them. And then the problem with Fox, I think, that is they realized she wasn't really grabbing more people to watch the program, because if she would have been really a magnet, I think Fox would have kept her, without a doubt, because it's a question of numbers and money. But she couldn't. She couldn't do that.
You think so too? You think she's done, or you think we're going to hear more of her in politics?
Done.
Really? Mm-hmm. All right. Marcella, thank you so much for joining us here.
Thank you, Richard.
We will take a quick break here, and of course, we're going to keep following up the immigration issue with Marcella as it moves along here, knock on wood. When we come back, we turn to football, and one pro player, in fact, is playing in the Super Bowl this Sunday, says 30 years from now, the league that pays him, the NFL, will cease to exist. We'll tell you why he's saying just that. Stay with us.